So the mosquitoes are really enjoying feasting off of my flesh today. It's pretty itchy. Some philosophers say that we are the universe experiencing itself. And others have said, right, that we are not the observers so much as that we are the observed. And quantum physics, all of these, the sciences are now catching up to the ancients. What the ancients said about energy, how everything is alive, everything is energy, and everything is moving, and everything is connected, and everything is a continuum, and that we're part of that, and our little lives are just part of that energy and motion and aliveness, and then they go out and then they continue as energy in another form, and so forth and so on ad infinitum, I guess. So there's nothing to strive for, there's nothing to gain from this life. You do what you want to do. Do the best you can do to create a life that you can live with, or live for, or feel that there's purpose, or feel something like this, right? And then I think for some of us, we get to a point where it's like we start to catch on and to realize that there is no, literally there's no purpose except to be, to live, to experience. And that's it. And then how we wish to experience, to live, to be, without trying to control everything, without trying to push everything in a certain direction that, the irony, the dichotomy is that the more we push and the more we strive to make things a particular way, the less they tend to become that, and the more we fight it, the worse it gets. When we let go of the handlebars, good things sometimes happen. But then if we get, again, to attach and cling to those good things, it's no good again. And even if we don't, it may be no good again, but if we don't, then there's no sort of trying to grasp, or then there's a lot less suffering involved in the process of like losing things or not getting things your way. And then there's the aspect of how to suffer well, not just loss of things, but health and pain, like physical pain, or all these things, or unpleasantness in various ways, and the body's aging, and etc. In my case, there's always some form of pain or discomfort in my body, and there has been for so many years now, that it becomes a part of you, but without identifying with that. Like, I am not my body, I am not my pain, I am not this either. Yet, it is a conscious experience which I have in this body, in this form. I'm conscious, I can speak about it, I can think about it, I can feel it. I can feel it, I put that in quotes, right? If it's this, whatever that I is, as part of this larger whole consciousness or reality. So, but there's no intrinsic goal or end. And I'm beginning to think more that death is not really the end. I mean, it's the end of the body, and it's the end of being in this particular web of conditions, and the people who know you or who you know you won't be able to talk to each other or influence each other directly this way. But apart from that, right, you won't have to eat every day and sleep every day, and so all that ends with death. But I think the consciousness in some form, the energy in some form, still, I mean, how can it be anything but? I don't know. So what? Either way, just live and just die and just suffer and just enjoy when you can. There are times of enjoyment where I forget about all of my physical pains and conditions, where my brain is, telling me I exist and I matter, or my music exists or my music matters. It does and it doesn't. I do and I don't. It's all dichotomy. You distance oneself mentally from those mental distortions or whatever they are, then it's easier to just exist in the world and to be with oneself. Because in my case, I'm almost always just with myself. I'm between classes now. I have to go back and teach students, but that's a role. I represent the teacher or the instructor or whatever. They represent the students, but we're all just individual existences as part of a larger collective. And then when the class ends, I'm back out on my own again. So I'm alone, we're all alone. And we're not alone. There's a dichotomy right here. Am I alone out here? No. I'm surrounded by nature, I'm surrounded by trees, I'm surrounded by sky, and clouds and sun, the sounds of commotion, cars and planes and people doing their thing, technology. I was thinking today, earlier, imagine just like I tossed this phone, I got rid of the computer, I don't log on anymore, I don't check YouTube or mail. I just literally as some have done in past times, and famous ones like Thoreau and Walden and Kamo no Chome, living in his little hut. But those guys wrote, and then they published, and then we all know about them because of that. Or someone wrote and published. What is it that humans, we have this desire to be known and heard, listened to, understood. We're all the same in a way, but of course we all have our own quirks, and my way of thinking is certainly not the same as probably anyone watching this. Not probably, it can't be the same. No two people have the same exact way of thinking or perceiving. But we're all basically the same in terms of our needs and our human aspects, which is now being challenged by AI and the possibility that there is life beyond this planet, and there seems to be many indications that there is. I don't think aliens will look or act the way that we've perceived or imagined them in the popular mind of, the green creatures coming down in UFOs or whatever. Although people have seen various strange objects that seem to defy the physics, the way that they move. And I've seen things, programs on these things, but like, again, it's kind of like, so what, It doesn't change our day-to-day lives, whether it exists or doesn't exist, or whether it influences us or doesn't. All kinds of things exist and influence us in so many ways that we don't even realize how many people think about the way the moon or the sun right now has a huge coronal mass hole in it or something. Sitting up here, I'm not burning, my flesh isn't burning, and I'm not, I don't feel the direct effect of that, but no, undoubtedly it's affecting me and everybody in some way, like the tides of the moon. So, but we don't think about these things like every day, daily, every moment. We're thinking about our own little tiny worlds and what I have to do tomorrow and pay the bill, and I have to eat something because I'm hungry, and what do I want to do over the weekend kind of thing. So for me, it's just day to day, because I have all these health things that make no sense, by the way. They're not like, I don't even have names for, they're not even a name for some of the symptoms that I have, and it makes no sense logically, some of these things. So, well, it's, then anything a doctor can understand is psychological. Well, what does that mean? It means we don't know what it is, and we can't give you a reason for it, so it's psychological. It's your problem. Go to a psychotherapist, and then waste your money on that, because they don't know what the fuck it is either. You can't help either. Most of those people are just trying to figure out their own shit, which is why they become psychologists, psychiatrists, and then they charge you all this money for nothing, basically. So, it's not the point I'm trying to make here. I have to go back to class in a bit, so I have to keep this short. Beautiful out here. Wish I could stay here, but I gotta go back to a classroom with a window, fortunately, in this university, but fluorescent lights, and it's an enclosed space inside a building. That's how we live. It's good when it's raining and storming out, but when it's like today, I'd much rather be out here. I enjoy teaching, but I'd much rather be out here, frankly. And certainly I'd much rather be here than in the heart of the city with all the people staring into their phones, wearing masks despite the heat. It's because it's warm today. I don't know. I don't get it, but whatever. It's again, we all have our own ways of thinking, doing, believing, being, living, and it's fine. Let's not kill each other because we don't think the same way. Enough of that. I'll shut off because I have to get back. That's it for today. Thank you.